Norway is located in northern Europe, above Denmark and the North Sea, and directly alongside the western border of Sweden. While Norway may be on the same latitude lines as Alaska, it is actually far warmer due to the Norwegian current. This current carries millions of tons of warmer tropical water every second into the surrounding area, which keeps the fjords from freezing. This warming effect is compounded by the southerly currents of air brought about by the atmosphere. The average temperature of Norway is 45 degrees Fahrenheit, or 7 degrees Celsius, although this is slightly lower in the case of the Lofoten Islands, which are in the Arctic Circle, which come in at 43 degrees Fahrenheit, or 6 degrees Celsius. There are some fairly significant climate differences in the country due to its mountain ranges, which basically divide the country into eastern and western Norway. The western portion experiences cool summers and mild winters, and receives about 90 inches of rain every year. The eastern half is notably different, and experiences warm summers and cold winters, and receives only 30 inches of rain at most in a year. Norway has a constitutional monarchy and a house with one legislature, and its prime minister is Erna Solberg. Much of its culture stems from that of the Vikings, and they also identify heavily with rural culture. Important parts of modern Norwegian culture include Jante Law and Constitution Day. Evidence for climate change in Norway can be seen in the 0.9 degrees Celsius rise that was observed in between the years 1900 and 2008. The average spring temperature also increased drastically, with the increase ranging between 0.7 degrees and 1.4 degrees Celsius. Additionally, the monthly mean temperature of the coldest months have grown twice as fast as that of the warmest months. The amount of rainfall has also increased in the period between 1900 and 2008, and the intensity of strong rainstorms has increased. Furthermore, cold areas are receiving more snow, whereas warm areas receive less, which is due to the increases in winter rain and temperature that have been observed. Glaciers in Norway are also suffering and have been retreating since the end of the 1990s. It is likely that all small Norwegian glaciers will disappear and that total glacial area and volume could fall by as much as 1/3 by the end of the century. What is interesting is that the growing season will actually increase by as much as 2 months. Increased rainfall will also increase the likelihood of avalanches, and the risk of permafrost thawing and snowmelt floods will jump too. Several people have actually already died due to avalanches caused by the increased amount of precipitation in the country. Forest fires will also become more common, as will power outages and losses in cellular reception. Norway currently gives all of its residents that use electric cars a massive tax break, so widespread adoption of electric cars is on the rise. In fact, during the first half of 2019, the amount of electric vehicles sold rose to 56% and is currently 8% of all cars driven within the country. The problem is that most of these tax breaks are driven by oil revenue that the country has generated due to its newfound oil deposits off the coast. However, it does have plans to eliminate investments involved in companies with fossil fuels. It is planning a ban on funding any companies that produce more than 10 gigawatts of electricity via coal, or companies that mine more than 20 million tons of coal annually. This saved revenue will then in turn be invested in renewable energy. The country also plans to cut its carbon emissions to 95% less than that where they were in the year 1990. However, as of right now, the country is only set to reduce its emissions by 12% under its current plan of action, although this could be increased via the use of forest sinks or foreign intervention to reduce overall emissions. As it stands right now, the country is not really following the Paris Agreement and is instead expected to contribute to a rise in global temperatures of between 3 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit.